everybody, and welcome back to Aamsuntitledpodcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. I've started a new series in this podcast, which is the best of Percabeth. So it's basically where I give you my favourite Percabeth moments from the books, TV show, Heroes of Olympus, Chalice of the Gods, all that sort of thing. So far, I've done the best Percabeth moments in each episode, and I've also done the best Percabeth method? Where did method come? The best Percabeth moments in the Lightning Thief book, Sea of Monsters, and Titan's Curse, which very nicely leads on to what we're going to be talking about today. So, in today's episode, we are talking about the best of Percabeth in the Battle of the Labyrinth book. Now, this is where Percabeth starts Percabething. Like, I'm talking about the romantic connection starting to come out more, and I'm really, really excited for this. I think Battle of the Labyrinth and Last Olympian have some of the best Percabeth moments in it. So these next few episodes, I'm going to be really excited. So I'm sorry if I deafen anybody's ears with my squealing and stuff. I will try to keep it under control as much as possible. Okay, so let's talk about the first Percabeth moment. So in the beginning of the book, it opens up with Sally teasing Percy about his date, in inverted commas, with Annabeth. Of course, they were planning to go to the movies together because, of course, Annabeth has never seen a movie, and Percy wanted to, I think, rectify that, I guess. She's a fellow shipper, guys. She knows what's up. Like, she knows that there's something between the two of them, even though they can't see it themselves. Oh, I love Sally. What a woman. Honestly, what a woman. She's honestly one of the best fictional mothers ever. The next scene that we're going to be talking about is when Annabeth finds out that Percy has, in fact, met Rachel before. So, if you didn't know, Percy met Rachel in Titan's Curse. Um, and let's just say, remember Rachel because she causes a lot of problems in the Percabeth dynamic. And before anybody savages me, okay, just hear me out. I don't hate Rachel. Like, I don't hate her as a character, but I hate when she, like, tries to get in with Percy. But we'll talk more about that later on. And Annabeth is very clever because she calls her, like, kind of cute. And, Percy says, oh, I've never really thought about that. I love that she doesn't hide her jealousy, but of course, like, Percy doesn't realize that he's, even after everything that's happened between the two of them in the last three books, like, he's still not picking those hints up. And that is a reoccurring theme. And that also causes a lot of problems in the Percabeth dynamic, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. There's a little cute moment here where in the book, basically they get paired up for training, and of course they have to wear their armor and stuff on. So I've pulled this specific quote, which is, "Your armor is crooked," and she redid the straps for me. Aw, they're so cute. I like that she's always like looking out for him, making sure that he's okay. He does the same for her, but I think with Annabeth, as she tries to make it obvious to him, she's she knows that she likes him. Like, there's no denying the fact that she knows that she likes him. It's just with Percy, like, because he can't see it unless somebody spells it out in black and white to him, it kind of is frustrating when you're reading the books because it's almost like, how do you not know that she's got feelings for you? Like, when I was reading the books, like, for the second time when I got a bit older, and I was a bit like, how is this guy, like, not picking up on these hints? And it used to make me, like, chuckle when I was reading the books because I was just like, man, he really doesn't know what's going on, does he? I love Percy, don't get me wrong. Like, a lot of people call him dumb. Like, he's not dumb, I promise. He's just one of those people that's very, very dense and very oblivious. But like I said, there's more of that in this book later on. Another Percabeth moment that kind of stood out to me was it was when they've literally just found the entrance to the labyrinth, and there's the quote, "Annabeth gripped my arm," and a little bit later on it says, "Annabeth's hand slipped into mine," uh, and it's like cementing this idea that Percy is her safe place. Like, she looks to him for reassurance. Like, when they're in these situations that are like quite scary, like, she always reaches for his arm or his hand because she sort of feels like he connects her to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Not her life, but I don't know. He makes her feel not safe, but he gives her, like, he's her someone to come home to. Is that cringy to say? You know, I normally don't say things like this, but with Percabeth, like they just reach a whole other level of cliche. Like I don't think that they're cliche. Like I genuinely don't think that. Like all this time, like I've never had like a moment where I just like rolled my eyes. I've always just thought that they're so cute and so genuine and so grounded. And yeah, all these moments really just do stand out to me. So yeah, the next quote that I wanted to talk about is basically where they're in the Athena cabin, and of course Annabeth has been given this quest, and they're looking at maps and things, and there's this one quote that just made me just almost like it was almost like a tearjerker. It was just like I'll read the quote out to you guys. So it's then she did something that really surprised me. She blinked back tears and put out her arms. I stepped forward and hugged her. Butterflies started turning my stomach into a mosh pit. Guys. You know, this is the first time, like in this book in particular, like there's been instances where Annabeth has been scared, but the kind of vulnerability that she shows in this book is completely different because she almost feels responsible for everybody. Like the last few quests, of course, it was Percy's quest, and she just used to help. But because she is the leader of this quest, she feels like she's putting Percy in danger, and that scares her. Like she knows that something happens to him, like she'll have no one to blame but herself. Like she won't blame anybody but herself for it. And it's just so funny because um you know, like her brother, her half brother, I think it's Malcolm that walks in, and he's like, "Oh, I can leave. Like, there's something happening," and they're like, "No, we're just looking at maps," and it's like you guys totally weren't having a moment or anything, and he walked in. It was just funny. Like, it's one of those things where everybody can see it but them, and I think Annabeth can see it, but Percy definitely can't, and. It just, do you know what? It really frustrates me because I'm like, oh boy, how do you not know? Like, the girl is it's almost like she's screaming it at him and he just can't hear her basically. But yeah, I thought that was cute. Like, and I like that they're a little bit more on the physical intimacy side. So they've gone from just these like holding hands or gripping each other's arm to like hugs, and of course Annabeth kissed him on the cheek and Sea of Monsters. So she's very physically intimate, but she doesn't do it often, but when she does do it, it makes it even more special, if you know what I mean. I like that most of the time, like in their relationship, Annabeth is the one that makes the first move. And guys, there is nothing wrong with making a move on somebody that you like. Of course, as long as they're not already in a relationship, that's very important. But I'm just saying, like, I'm glad that Rick has made this character to show like other females like it's okay to make the first move. I think it was very sweet. I like the way that he's done it. It's very 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 clever. And there's just one little moment where, of course, Annabeth is talking about the quest, and literally all Percy says is, "You're doing great." Like he could see that she's getting overwhelmed and she's starting to doubt her own ability, but he's always there to back her up, to support her, to pull her up when she's feeling low and when she's questioning her own ability. Like he's always there to say, you know, like I got your back. And I think that that's such a big thing. Like support is such a big thing in their relationship, and I don't think either of them, like of course Percy's had the support of Sally, he's had Grover, but I think in Annabeth's life, like everybody who's supported her, of course, like Sally is gone, Luke has betrayed her, you know, she doesn't really have anybody that genuinely is there to pick her up when she's sad. And of course now that Percy's there, like he's that, I always say that he's the light to her darkness, I think. And I think she does the same for him, which I think is so sweet. And another thing that stood out to me is when the scene where Nico is basically blaming Percy for Bianca's death, because he still hasn't come to grips with losing his sister. And Annabeth instantly jumps to his defense, saying that what happened that day wasn't Percy's fault. And it's true. Like, what happened, Bianca sacrificed herself to protect everybody. She made a mistake. And of course, Annabeth knows that. And they can't take anybody saying crap about each other. They always are there to defend each other. And I love that. It's so sweet. They defend each other's honor. Oh my gosh. So cute. Now, this is my favorite moment. I remember when I read the book for like the first time, like I almost had a heart attack where And the quote is, "She kissed me. Go off, Queen." She knows he's dense, and she knows that there was no other way to express how she was feeling other than to kiss him. Because I feel like even if she spelt it out to him, like he wouldn't get it. And you guys don't understand. Like I have been waiting for this moment. Like since they met in the Lightning Thief, and since I started to see their chemistry, like I was waiting for that moment. And I'm not gonna lie, when I reread the books again for this podcast, when I was doing the book reviews, like I squealed. It was a bit embarrassing actually. Luckily, touch wood, I was in the house by myself, but it just makes me so excited, and like I get that excitement every single time. Like even though I know what's coming, it still makes me excited. And oh my gosh, they were so cute. And this whole idea that Percy basically sends her away to protect her. Like he sort of tells her that I've got a plan to get myself out. You put the invisibility cap and go. But he doesn't realize that I think she's been holding these feelings in for a really long time. Like I said, like there's a moment in Heroes of Olympus which we'll come to. We're going to do those books after this, after these, where she says to him, like, I've had feelings for you since we were 12. So technically, she's been harboring these feelings for a few years. And I think it's gotten to the point where she feels like she's going to lose him and she doesn't want to carry the regret of not telling him. And she couldn't put her feelings into words. So she just physically showed him how he makes her feel. And oh, they are so cute. So cute. I swear, like my jaw just hurts every time I think about them because I just smile from like ear to ear. I'm so happy this is not an InVision podcast. You guys probably think that I'm mental because you're like, how can somebody get so excited over a fictional relationship? I think it's just because like I've never read romance books before, like they're not really my sort of thing. And like the fact that Percabeth is such a huge part of this series that I love so much, it just I don't know, it makes you believe in love. Like when you look at those two, you're like, wow, that's I'm quite pessimistic when it comes to love, but when I see it for Percy and Annabeth, I'm just like, wow. And Rick is just the best slow burn writer ever. Oh my gosh. He's so good at creating moments between them that are just honestly swoon worthy, I guess. The next scene I'm going to talk about is the scene where Percy crashes his own funeral. So basically, Annabeth, Grover, everybody's convinced that he's dead because, of course, like he blew up a volcano and he ended up on Calypso's island, so nobody had seen him, so they've just assumed that he was dead, basically. And the first thing that Annabeth does is she runs up to him and she hugs him. And I've got the quote here, which is, "I thought she was going to punch me, but instead she hugged me so fiercely and she nearly cracked my ribs." I love that he never knows what she's gonna do. Like for Percy, like Annabeth is always so unpredictable. Like she always keeps him on his toes. Like whenever she looks at him, like he doesn't know whether she's gonna punch him or just kiss the hell out of him. Like, and I love that. I'm glad that they have that uncertainty in their relationship. It just makes their relationship just so interesting. And what I sort of appreciate about this book is that there's a lot of tension in this book. Like now that Percy and Annabeth have kissed, so Percy knows for a fact that Annabeth likes him. But then what he's not realizing is that Nico also likes him. Rachel also has feelings for him. And it's getting to the point where it's like I don't think Percy himself knows what's going on. Like there's a scene like in particular where after they've spoken to Rachel and she's helping them like walk what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, guys, sorry, I'm having a brain moment. You're gonna have to give me a second for the word. What am I looking for? Yeah, navigate. That's the word I was looking for. As Rachel is like trying to navigate them through the maze. After Annabeth has seen Luke again, the first thing she says to Percy is that there's something wrong with him. And it starts this argument between them. Like like Percy just can't understand why she just can't accept that Luke is bad. Like in Percy's eyes, like Luke tried to kill him. He's betrayed camp. Like he's betrayed the gods. Like that's it. Like there's no um good feelings for him anymore. But obviously, like because we talked about the whole thing about Annabeth having a crush on Luke, and Annabeth has history with Luke, so sometimes that makes it difficult for people to see when someone is bad, I guess. And then she starts like attacking Rachel, like, oh, they really both, in Annabeth's defense, Rachel does wind her up a fair bit as well, but it gets to the point where Annabeth is a bit annoyed, and I think it's because she knows that Rachel has feelings for Percy, and she knows for a fact that Percy doesn't know that Rachel likes him. And in this moment, like, they're both jealous. Like, Percy's jealous of Annabeth's relationship with Luke, Annabeth having these feelings for Luke, the same way Annabeth is jealous that um Percy is defending Rachel, and he's basically telling Annabeth off because of Rachel, and she doesn't get it, and they both can't understand why they're behaving like this. And I just, what I love about Rick's writing is that it's very real. Like, this is how couples fight. Like, it's not like they're fighting over something ridiculous. Like, they're both just jealous. They both won't admit to each other that they like each other. And there's these other people that have feelings for them as well. And it's just making this big mess. And that's what happens in real life. Like, sometimes people get stuck in situations like that. And it just made me. Do you know what? I kind of understood why Annabeth was angry. But at the same time, I was a bit like, okay, like, I don't know. It was just this a whole book. This is why Battle of the Labyrinth is one of my favorites. Not just because of all the action that goes on in the demigod world, but also like the tension in these relationships that Rick has made. He's not making it easy for Percy and Annabeth to be together. It's not like they've kissed and they're going to be together forever. Like, that's not how it works. Like, he's putting these challenges that people face in real life in their relationship. And that's what I mean when I say that they're very real, they're very raw, they're very grounded in reality. Like, I'm sure everybody's had a lover spat like Percy and Annabeth. Like, if you guys are in relationships, let me know. I'm not in a relationship, so I can't say I've ever had that kind of spat with anyone. But it's just, I just thought it was really interesting. And a lot of Percy and Annabeth's relationship, like when they're arguing and stuff, I see that in real life relationships because I see obviously my friends' relationships, my family's relationships. And yeah, I just think that Rick is an absolute genius for making them so real, is what I'm trying to say. One of the last few Percabeth moments that we're going to be talking about is the scene where Annabeth gives Percy her Yankees cap so that he can. I think he's gone to spy on something. Do you know what, guys? I can't remember. I need to reread the books. I'm just looking for an excuse to reread the books. And, he sort of says in his internal monologue that he's disappointed because the last time he left, she gave him a kiss. Guys, she's punishing him. She's doing it on purpose because she knows that like, he's defended Rachel, so he's upset her, basically. So she ain't gonna give him that affection that he wants, basically. My guy is still thinking about like that kiss. Do you know what? One thing about Percy is whenever Annabeth does something like remotely romantically affectionate to him, he just can't get over it. And I think that is really funny. I love that he's a sim. It really gives me laugh. Like, it honestly makes me laugh. And you know, like, there's one scene that really made me a little bit like emotional was the scene where Percy tells Annabeth that the Luke that you knew, like, he's gone, like, there's no good left in him, like, he's just bad. And she's still holding on to this thing. She's like, no, that's not Luke, you know what I mean? Like, I know him, like, he's not like that. And it's basically throughout this book, Percy and Annabeth are both very, very frustrated with each other, like, they just can't see eye to eye in this book. And, it's just, I get it. Like, I get their frustrations. I understand both sides of the story. I get Percy's perspective, and I also get Annabeth's. But I think that's what makes them such a good couple, I guess. Like, they have, um, I feel like you have to have a little bit of tension in a relationship, otherwise it's never going to work. And of course, like, until Annabeth accepts that the Luke that she knew is gone, and she's let go of these feelings for him, Percy and Annabeth can't be together, and they both know that. I think, well, I don't know if Annabeth knows that, but like, in Percy's mind, like, he won't be with her unless he's absolutely certain that she's over these feelings. And the same with Annabeth, like, she doesn't know what's going on between Percy and Rachel. Like, they met when Annabeth wasn't into his life as much, you know what I mean? Like, she was kidnapped, she was taken away from him. So I think she's feeling the same way, like, maybe I like him, but he doesn't like me as much. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just those niggling doubts that cause problems in, like, relationships. And it makes it so difficult for Percy and Annabeth to come to, like, a mutual understanding, I guess. Oh my god, I feel like I felt like I went on a full like relationship therapist tangent. But yeah, I hope you guys like sort of understand what I mean. And I would love to have this discussion with people. Like anybody else wants to talk about this dynamic, let me know. Um yeah, the second to last thing that I'm going to talk about is, of course, when the invasion starts and the battle is full blown, like going at it. This was a big moment because in the book, sorry, I'm just going to go on a slightly little tangent here. Is this invasion is the first invasion that has happened in the heart of camp. So this is where Percy and Annabeth are watching their friends die. They're seeing and losing people, and this war is actually starting to become real. And what I love is that no matter what's happened, no matter what arguments they've had in this book, they're still fighting side by side and they're still there for each other, still looking out for each other. And I love that. And they stay side by side until the last battle is won as well. But we'll come to that in the last Olympian Best of Percabeth moments, which is the next few episodes. And the last thing that I wanted to end on is something that happens towards the end of the book, where Percy he makes this comment where he keeps trying to talk about Luke to Annabeth, but Annabeth is pushing him away. Like she's shutting him out. She doesn't want to talk to him. She sort of walks away from him at one point. And I think like it kind of sets the tone for the next book because things get a lot more complicated in the war. And I think this last book is really going to change their relationship forever. Of course, I know because I've read it so many times, so I know. But like, yeah, I just thought it was really interesting that Annabeth has kind of put this distance between them while she's sort of trying to work out what's going on. Like I said, Rick is very real. Like this is what happens in relationships. Sometimes people have fights and they just need to be away from each other for a little while until they're thinking with a clear head and come back to each other. Like, yeah, Rick is an absolute genius. Like in terms of like Percabeth moments, like this book was what I was waiting for, and I'm so happy with what he did in this book. Like, although it was frustrating because of course there was the ongoing theme of Luke interfering and Rachel interfering, there was just some still great Percabeth moments. Okay, so to kind of round off this episode, because I feel like I chucked a lot of Percabeth scenes at you guys, I just thought I'd give you my final thoughts about the whole book in general and the best of Percabeth. So I'm happy that they finally kissed. Like I said, I've been waiting for this since the first book, and I didn't know when Rick was going to put it in, and I'm so glad. I think he picked the best moment to put it in. He's a genius, an absolute genius. Um, I love that there was tension caused by Rachel and Luke. I think it's very important. And I'm glad that we got to see jealousy from the both of them, which sounds weird as well. Like you're probably thinking, oh, you want to see them get jealous? Yeah, because it up until this point, like I don't think people know how much they meant to each other. But now that there's people like interfering in their relationship, it's bringing this whole new level to their relationship. Does that make sense? I don't know. They're both pretty stubborn. Like neither of them will say that they like each other. They're not. They don't have the confidence to say that to each other. But by showing that jealousy, Rick is basically telling you guys that look, these two are forever, but there's going to be problems that come with that forever. And I love that. It's real, it's raw, and it's not unrealistic, which is what I love about it. Like I said, the whole Battle of the Labyrinth book was brilliant. Like, it completely changed the Percabeth dynamic, and I loved it, and I was living through it throughout. Next episode is going to be the best of Percabeth in the last Olympian book. However, I have had to split it into two parts because there were too many moments for me to choose from, and I'll be very honest with you guys, I couldn't do it. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel whilst you're there. Episodes are also available to stream on Spotify. You can follow me there as well. Am I forgetting anything? Follow me on Instagram and Threads. They're both at Aamsuntitledpodcast. Feel free to DM me any questions, content recommendations, that sort of thing. And I will speak to you guys in the next episode. Mwah. Bye!